Hello everyone and welcome back to another Friday Night Frights review. Friday Night Frights is a little horror movie club on YouTube. We also have a Goodreads group and you can join in anytime. Every Friday we do reviews of a pre-selected horror movie, and this week's review is the start of a month-long franchise review, and that is of the cursed franchise Poltergeist. The first one that we watched this week was the original, obviously, the one that came out in 1982, produced and written by Steven Spielberg and directed by Tobe Hooper, even though there is a little bit of controversy there and a lot of people say that it was actually Steven Spielberg who directed the movie also, but he needed Tobe Hooper's name on the actual paperwork because he was binded by a contract to do E.T. at the same time, so he couldn't have his name on the Poltergeist as a director, but he was more of the leader in everything directorial, except that his name is not attached to the director title. The movie follows the Freeling family, who is a family with 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. They live in this very happy suburban home development in California. At some point, certain things start happening in the house, particularly surrounding their youngest daughter, Carol Ann, who's 5, and she starts being able to speak to certain TV people while there's only static on the channel on TV. Things really soon take off, and the TV people, which actually turn out to be ghosts or poltergeists, start becoming dangerous, and the family contacts a parapsychologist team to help them figure out what the poltergeists want and how they could get rid of them. And I have to say, this movie was really scary, at least when I was 8 or 9 the first time around I got to see it. I remember seeing this movie for the first time, at least the first half of the movie, when I was around 8 or 9, and I watched it on the TCM, which was a channel that started when Cartoon Network finished broadcasting around like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. every day. And Poltergeist was on, and I saw that it had this cute little girl who's 5, and I had no idea it was a horror movie. I had never heard of it, and at that age my English was really basic because I had just pretty much started learning it in school, so I couldn't even follow what they were saying. I was just watching the images. I don't think I made it too far past the tree scene, which is about 40 minutes into the movie. I didn't finish it, but I remember that really freaked me out. The whole scene of Carol Ann having her hands like that on the TV and talking to the static, and the obviously super famous line of "they're here" really spooked me out at that time. But after I saw it around 10 years later, I remember I was really underwhelmed by it. And having watched it now and realizing that I really couldn't remember much of the details past that 40-minute point, it really makes me realize that this is really not the movie for me. There are a lot of things that didn't really work with me in this movie, and I think that basically started off with the whole atmosphere of the movie. It's a very happy atmosphere. It never really induces fear, and I think for a horror movie to work, there needs to be at least a little bit of a tension. And when you see the super silly reaction that the adults have when poltergeists start manifesting, they're just super happily observing. When you take your 5-year-old and when you put a helmet on her and excitedly watch how poltergeists are carrying her around the room, there's a lot of these silly things that really did not work with me and did not manage to create the atmosphere of a horror movie at all. The only scenes that really induced some sort of horror feel to it were the scenes where Carol Ann was in, and that is because she's a very angelic child. The face sticks with you. Heather O'Rourke did a really great job acting in this, and I think I was disappointed watching it because she hardly gets any screen time except for the major scenes that she's in, the really epic scenes, and that's really disappointing because I think that the whole creepy element was surrounding her. Once she wasn't in the movie as much, the movie just kind of fell flat for me. The effects that they used to make the poltergeist scenes were actually pretty cool, especially for the time. The movie is actually nominated for 3 Academy Awards for music, sound, and visual effects. But that didn't really make it scary for me. I just appreciated the effects. Fun fact about the movie though, which is something that I like reading about in relation to other movies as well, is that this is apparently a cursed movie. And by that I mean that while filming the whole trilogy, weird events happened and 5 of the actors died, including 2 actresses that were in the first one. One of them being the eldest daughter in the movie. She was killed by her abusive boyfriend when she was trying to get out of that relationship. And the second is actually Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann, who died of an intestinal disease soon after she filmed the 3rd movie in the trilogy, and she died at the age of 12. And there's also certain weird things that happen, like the actress who played the mother, when she went home, she found all her pictures crooked and turned on the nails. And the actress who played the psychic medium had this vision of her dog coming to her and saying goodbye, and then about an hour later she got a phone call saying her dog died. So there's a lot of these weird things that happened, and it is said that the franchise itself was cursed. And the reason why it was cursed was because apparently they used real skeletons as the props. At the end scene where there's a pool of skeletons coming out. Apparently those were real skeletons they used, not plastic ones. And the actress who was in that scene had no idea that those were real skeletons until after she did the scene, which is really creepy. Another fun fact, especially since I'm a fan of this person, is that Stephen King was actually briefly approached to write the screenplay, but he could not come to terms with Steven Spielberg, and that was very soon dropped. But I think it would have been really interesting to see what Stephen King would have done with that story. All in all, I can't really say I disliked the movie. It was alright. It just wasn't great. It wasn't mind-blowing, and I would definitely not consider it one of the best horror movies like it is often referred as. Next week we will be watching Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, and I will be coming back to you next Friday with a review of that. Let me know down below if you've seen this movie and what you thought of it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great and spooky Friday night. Bye.